Welcome once again to yet another beautiful episode today, and this is Humanist TV Africa. This is Humanist TV Africa, reaching out to humanity is our motto, and of course, we aspire to inspire you to do better than yesterday and to dream better for a better tomorrow. And this is KATO Mukaso, of course, I'm Ugandan, interested in issues, human rights, and of course, I'm interested in the empowerment of people. That's why I organize these programs on a daily now. If you have just joined us, I want to request you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Humanist TV Africa, but also we have a Facebook page, which is Humanist TV Africa. Remember, in business, in economics, numbers matter. So we want to encourage you to join us by subscribing to Humanist TV Africa. But also, I want to request you to write to us an email. And our email is humanisttvafrica@proton.me. Our email is humanisttvafrica@proton.me. Please write to us an email. You may want to volunteer with us. You may want to work with us. You may want to advise us. You may want to make a donation to us. You may want to advertise in our programs. Write to us and we shall do business with you. Remember, if you're a volunteer and you want to work with us, you are in Nigeria, you are a student of mass communication, you are a student of law, you are a student of IT, those are the courses you want to partner with, you are a social worker, and you want to work with us. You are in Africa, you are anywhere in the world, you are in the US, you are in UK, you are in Australia, you want to work with a young team, a team of people that dream big and want to change the way things are in the world. This is the right team to work with. Please send us that email at humanisttvafrica@proton.me. The email is right there. You want to volunteer with us, you want to do internship with us, please send us that email. Remember, we have studios in Uganda. So far, we have 4 studios in Uganda. We have 2 studios in Kenya. We have 2 studios in Nigeria. We have a studio in Ghana. We have a studio in Sierra Leone. We have a studio in Zambia and Zimbabwe. And we want to have more studios across Africa. But of course, beyond Africa, we have 1 studio in the UK. So why don't you join us at Humanist TV Africa? We have the name Humanist TV Africa, but of course, all of us are Africans. So basically, your location doesn't matter. Whether you're in the USA, whether in Canada, you can still work with us. All of us are Africans, and we are humanists behind this broadcasting. And of course, in the studio today is Dennis Bongole, who is our producer doing these shows. And the show itself is Katon the Gang, Politics, Economics, and Religion in Africa, where I meet with my not stubborn people here. We fight intellectually. We call it the battle of wits. We fight, but using this brain until when we get things sorted. And yeah, we fight and we fight and we fight. Now, today, we are looking at democracy in Africa and which way to go. Democracy in Africa, which way to go. You see, that Tarok man with a hoodie, that traditionalist, humanist, has very weird views, which we always come here and we try to dismantle. Sometimes he wins, but most often he loses. Let us see whether he's going to win today. Now, this man basically thinks that there is no democracy. That's one thing. He thinks that democracy is a sham. Actually, he thinks that we don't need democracy. Now, I'm going to start with him right away because he has a tendency of his ancestors disappearing him. Like every after 10 minutes, his ancestors come and disappear him. And this virus has also caught up with this Sierra Leonean guy, Emmanuel Mambo. They always disappear. And they say their ancestors have caught up with them. They disappear in thin air. Then they come and say, network was the problem. But I know it's their ancestors who are hopeless. African ancestors were very, very stupid ancestors. That's why Europeans defeated us. We had the most hopeless ancestors who never fought the Europeans, who never fought all these other thieves from Arabia. So now these guys still say that they have their ancestors, which basically don't allow them to speak on the show. Very hopeless ancestors. Now, let us go directly to Nigeria. Nigeria, this man is called Anandip Bongfa. He says basically we don't need democracy. If I've got him right, maybe let him speak for himself. Nandip, it's your turn.
Allow me to laugh out first because the way you describe my ancestors is just too very very funny. They cannot help themselves, and they cannot take care of the Europeans and the Arabs and all that. This is very very funny. Yeah, that's the truth. Really, our ancestral, they are kind of people that don't understand the culture. Can you hear me right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you? Yes, doesn't
I can hear
understand the
you. Yeah.
culture of, yes, they doesn't understand the culture of other people that came into Africa or Nigeria or the Tarok land and all that. So they believe that those people, they are kind of people that came from another planet, you know. So they are not of the same color like them. So because they are white, they are brown, and we in Tarok we are black. So
There are
they
no
see
white
them as
people. There are no white people. Stop
in
that
Africa.
lie they are promoting. White is this.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah,
that lie
okay,
they are
okay,
promoting.
okay. Yes, they
Call
are
them whatever
brown.
color you want to see them be. They
Yes,
are not
they are
white
not
people.
white. Yes, they are brown, and we are kind of chocolate, kind of dark black. So they think that these people, they are from kind of another kind of space or planet, so they can be able to believe in whatever nonsense they bring to them. Now let's go back to the real topic of the day, which is democracy in Africa. Is it proper or not? To me, which way to go? To me, as I've already earlier argued here in this great platform, of which I love this platform so much. I thank Comrade Katu for creating this platform, of which many Africans, many humanists, many theists, and those people that doesn't even believe in those people that believe in Jesus or believe in God, they are watching us right away. Yes. Now, democracy in Africa today, which way forward? We have argued this last month and the month uh, ago that Africans, we don't need this thing called democracy. What is the definition of democracy in the first place? They said it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, I will give this great platform the definition of my own democracy. Democracy is the government of the corrupt, by the corrupt, and for the corrupt. So democracy is a kind of a corrupt system that kind of make other people to progress. If you are in their clique or in their gang or in their circle, and then make other not to progress, in the sense that democracy have to do with party. Party have to do with what people that elect the party into government. Now, if you are in a particular community or a state that didn't elect the official that has the ruling, that has the president of that country, you are gone. You will not have what? Development. Your representative there, one or two, will not have a say because majority of those there carry the vote. Whenever you bring your, the problems of your local community to the parliament or to the senate or to the house of reps, they will overshadow you because of what? You are in minority. And you can see, so those in majority in a democratic setting, they are crooks. I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm in a live kind of platform now. Yes, that is what is happening. And many of Nigerians, they can kind of support what I'm telling you all over the world. KATO, you are from Uganda, Nana, Ghana, and Mabu, Sierra Leone. This is a live program. And I believe many of us in our various countries will face the same thing, of which democracy never helped anybody. I have to dust my heart. I cannot be able to remove this to the country of Mali, to the country of Burkina Faso, to the country of Niger, and to other countries that decided to do away with democracy and take over by the military junta. I really appreciate them so much because mostly democracy, we are influenced by the outside world. France, England, America, just name them. I know many of us here, you will have to argue with me. Argue the way you like it, but that is the truth. Because our leaders being elected in democracy setting, they were controlled. They will always be controlled by those people, this European, France, America, British, and all that. But if you look at the military junta, they are just like a gang and people, they are on their own and they want to see the progress of their country and they want to see the poor man from the Tarok land enjoying the benefit of the resources that we have in Nigeria. Especially, we have so much minerals. What we are just doing and excavating now is just fuel, that is petrol. But we have gold in abundance. We have coal in abundance. We have tin and columbine in abundance. We have a lot of very large mineral resources in large commercial quantity in Nigeria. But what the politicians knows now is just fuel because they need quick money. And if they see that the quick money is not coming, they will go to the foreign countries that supported them and borrow money. Borrow in millions of billions of dollars. Now, if they cannot be able to pay it, it's the next government that they can be able to come and pay it. And the citizens of the country in democracy setting, they are the ones that will suffer it. Suffer it in the sense that things will be what? So high, the food stuff now, we are buying fuel now. In some few years ago, we buy fuel just 100 and something naira. Now it's close to 1,000 naira a fuel in a liter. Now, my wife, we don't even use a gas. Our gas now, we kept it aside. We are using wood to cook food. Like my ancestors in 300 years ago, we go and cut wood and then put it and cook our meal with it, because we cannot be able to afford the gas now to cook our food inside our comfort room, because things are getting very, very weird and expensive. Those people in the democracy, that is our leaders that we elected them, they selected them. We don't even elected them anyway, because everything is just rigged. But the lawyers and the judges and everything is just corrupt. Everything about democracy, that's why I've been telling you that democracy is just corruption. Now, we keep our gas away and we use wood to cook our food. We are in the 21st century, but we behaving like we are in the first century. First century is different from 21st century. You have to understand this. Actually, understand. First century, they are our primitive kind of ancestors that they don't even cook their meal. They'll catch maybe a rabbit and they start feeding on it. Now, it seems like we are going to do the same if democracy has not been stopped in Africa. I remove my hat for Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and there's another country also that they are into military danger and they are taking their country into their hands, and their citizens now they are enjoying. Not we of Ghana, not we that in Uganda and Nigeria and Sierra Leone, that we are key into democracy, that we cannot be able to see anything written on about. Democracy is not meant for Africans. I've been saying this ago, and I'll keep on saying this. We don't need democracy in Africa. We don't need it, because democracy is full of corruption, it's full of embezzlement, it's full of the few people that we have elected to be enrich yourself. And we, the Anna Wims, we always don't have anything to write home about. We suffered, we farm our crops, we cultivate it, we take it to the market. The poor people like us that are supposed to buy, they don't have the money to buy. We have to sell it to them very cheaply. And the income that we get, it cannot be able to sustain us. What is the essence of democracy in the first place? So, which way to go? There's no need for democracy in Africa. That's why some of the African countries, they are taking over their government on themselves. To hell with democracy in Africa. We don't need that. Democracy doesn't mean anything to us. We don't need it. We don't need it. I didn't even support it in the first place. I've never voted. The person that I'm supposed to be put my vote for in this democracy is Honorable Solomon Dalon. But I didn't have the opportunity to go and vote. They said that you have to go to your local community and vote. I didn't have the opportunity to go and vote. So, in essence, in my conclusion now, the way forward is democracy is not good for us as an Africans. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, sir. The Tarok man, Nandip Bongfa. Thank you, sir. But you see, your problem is one. You talk very well. In fact, today, you gave us a quotation, which I think Dennis is going to capture very well. Democracy is for the corrupt, by the corrupt, something. This is the way you framed it. I want to remember it. Is a government by the corrupt, something like that. You gave us a quotation. You said what? How did you say it?
Yes, democracy is for the corrupt and by the corrupt and for the corrupt politicians. It's not for us, the locals. The moment they go there, yes.
Okay, hold it there. But in the first phase, you defined it very well. I think Dennis will remember and have your quotation right away, because we prefer having catchy words from our participants. You said it so well. You defined it so well in the beginning. But your problem is one, you man. You talk so beautifully and you end nowhere. You all dressed up neatly, but you are going nowhere. You are dressed up neatly, you are going nowhere. Because you talked and I was listening. 15 minutes listening to hear. Will Nandip give us a way forward? Zero. So you dressed up, you end up zero.
See,
Let us listen to Ghana.
yes,
No,
I
your
have a
time is
second
over.
thought.
Your
Yes, all
time
right.
is over. Let us listen to Ghana now.
Thank you, Comrade Kato. And
Mm,
it's also it's always a privilege to be here talking about
mm,
issues pertaining to the welfare of the human race and to be in particular Africa. Um, I, I didn't hear the part or the solution to Comrade Nandev's argument against democracy. So if democracy is not good, um, what do you want us to practice, Comrade Nandev? What do you want us Africans to practice apart from democracy? It's a question
yes,
I'm posing to you.
yes. Thank you. We have our traditional way of kind of uh,
And
taking care of our people. Yes,
so
tradition,
it's
tradition.
monarchy.
Yes, of
They have
the chief. Yes,
monarchy. Are you talking
yes.
about the monarchical
Of
system?
course, of course. Yes,
Okay,
because
thank
you
you
will
very
not have a corrupt
yeah,
person
yeah.
in
I
the.
just wanted to
Yes,
know. Thank you very much. It's all right.
monarch.
Nandip, stop talking. Stop talking. You have
It's
had
all
your
right.
time.
Yes,
It's
I just
time for
wanted to
Ghana.
know. Yes,
Nana is asking me a question. I have to kind of say
yes.
something.
Okay, your
Let me.
time is over. It's time for
Yes,
Ghana.
Okay.
yes. So, um, um, it is because of democracy that my brother Nandip is here talking. If it wasn't democracy and it is an authoritarian system, I bet Nandip right tonight will be under his bed, but because of democracy, at least you you are free to share your tarot ideas. So at least the worst form of democracy is better than an authoritarian system or the monarchical system. The issue here is people always complain democracy hasn't helped Africa. No, it is not democracy. It is how we are practicing it. The factors are not one. There are so many factors that pertains, and one major factor is the, let me see, the colonizers, because they want to keep us slaves forever. So they will do everything, everything possible to keep us ignorant as ever, so that they will be able to reap their profit from our continent. And it's they know it. Our leaders know it. Secondly, another factor I think is capitalism. We are playing with fire. If you play with capitalism, you are playing with fire, because either either you are the hunter, or you are being hunted. It is a two-way affair. Capitalism doesn't have that doesn't have any humanistic attribute to it. Though the proponents of the capitalism and economy said even if greedy people are mass with, it will trickle down to the poor people. Up till today, it hasn't. It is yet to trickle down. It has not been able to trickle down. So one problem is capitalism. Capitalism is an angry, wounded lion devouring everything on its path. So
So
even
Nana,
yeah,
Nana.
I'm listening. Yeah.
So can you define capitalism for the audience to know what the definition of capitalism is all about?
Yeah, okay. In simple terms, I would say capitalism is a free market system where individuals have every right to. I may be biased but individual
Definition.
have right. Yeah, individual
Mm.
have right to amass wealth, create wealth to benefit themselves. That what that's the definition of capitalism, so far as I know. It's individuals amassing wealth to creating wealth for themselves and for themselves only.
Mm.
So if and we and Africans are communal, we are communal people. We because throughout history, our farms didn't belong to individuals alone. Anybody, if my I haven't, if your farm is ready and I can harvest something to eat, I can take something from your farm, come home to eat. Whilst when my farm is ready, you to be free to go there to maybe harvest some yams, harvest some maize or anything that you'll be able to eat. But capitalism is not like that. Capitalism will clear everything off, clear everything for in one individual person alone. And that's why I'm saying capitalism is very dangerous if we encourage it. Because with capitalism, I can decide to, let's say, spoil all the air we are breathing. I can be a scientist, then I'll push carbon dioxide into the system. Then I'll find an antidote like a gas or something, oxygen, and create it. Then I'll be selling this oxygen to the people who have been affected by this carbon dioxide in the environment. Then I'll be making money from it. That is capitalism. You create problem, then you solve the problem. So it is a very dangerous affair we are playing with, and Africans, we need to come together and be each other's keeper. We can practice capitalism, but the society or the community should be at the forefront. The society should benefit from the the results of capitalism. It shouldn't go to an individual's pocket. So democracy with capitalism have created something, a facade that it is for the, as you quoted, it's for the people by the people, and it is not true. Because when we vote for president in Ghana, you are counted out. You are no more part of the government till another 4 years, and your only chance in this democracy is to go and vote again. And what sort of democracy it is? We have to practice a democracy where everybody's argument, everybody's ideologies is taken into consideration, so that the best one will be taken out to care for the whole for the proper people. But we are practicing a democracy where a gang of crooks stay in one place and find means and ways to steal money from the people, and we will be in our room watching them on television stealing our money. And it has been happening in Ghana, it has been happening in Nigeria, but we are not saying anything about it. So we need to make Ghana, our most of our problem also stems from our constitution, because our constitution was built by a dictator who wanted to protect himself, because Rollins, coming from a military coup, needed to protect himself. So he created the constitution that will make him and his allies able to escape from, maybe he thought the past will be coming back to haunt him. So we should
That
move
should be the
from
only.
that kind of constitution to a constitution where only people who love the land, who love Africa, only people who have good visions for Africa will be able to take positions in the larger echelons of, or in the higher echelons of our public offices. Because neither than that, it will be these selfish capitalists who will come back to to be our leaders, and they will be selling our, because capitalism is about buying and selling. They'll be selling all what we the nation have to foreigners, because right now we've sold everything. Just recently we discovered lithium, and instead of selling it to instead of letting local people to manufacture aluminium and whatever from it, we've sold it to some I don't know, Australian company. Or so this is what we've been doing. We've been selling all our minerals, all our wealth to the European, because with them, when there is corruption, they will keep mute, and few people that we claim to be our leaders will steal this money from our coffers. So I think the democracy is good, but the way we are practicing it is not the ideal way to practice democracy.
Okay, we have heard from you, Nana. You have had your time and speak your views across. Let us go to Sierra Leone. Emmanuel Mambu. It seems that the ancestors of Mambu and the ancestors of Nandip are the same. They are cowards. They keep on disappearing and appearing. Let us give him the chance to speak. Mambo Emmanuel.
Nandip have transferred the Tarok ancestors to me in Uganda.
I told you ancestors are hopeless. Those spirits are
So I'm
hopeless. They
having,
are dead.
I'm having a great issue. And one thing, our ancestors they were not used to internet, so they don't want to allow us to use the internet properly.
Okay,
Yes,
let us
thank
continue.
yes. Talking about democracy, I always say this. We are actually misusing the word democracy. Africa do not have democracy because all the components, the definition of democracy or the component is not being exercised in Africa. So to me, we are just misusing the word democracy in Africa, but we don't actually have democracy. Um, how would a government be selected when in democracy it should be elected? But we all know that you and I know, or every other person who is living in Africa, we all know that Africa do not actually have democracy, but rather we are just using the word as an umbrella.
Yes.
We are just using the word, and we are even misusing that word democracy. But the word democracy is not in Africa. In Africa, we do selections, not election. And even the selection is being done by few people, not the majority. It is only in Africa that you see somebody who go and register to vote for a political party. And then on the day of election, before you going even to the pool to vote, the election have already been, I mean, there will be no ballot paper for you to vote. They will tell you the ballot paper is finished. And when that particular polling station has a number of people that should vote, a number of voters, a number of people registered, a number of people that are supposed to vote at that polling station. But when you go at the polling station on a specific day to vote, to cast in your vote, they will tell you there is no more paper to vote. The ballot paper is finished. So you will find out that those who select, they've already done their selection. They've already cast their vote. So in Africa, we don't have democracy. We are misusing that word democracy because we have thieves in power. My country, we have thieves in power. And if you talk, there is no freedom of speech because you will talk, but after you've said what you want to say, what will be the repercussion? Is maybe that is even what I'm suffering today because you are allowed to talk. You just go and talk, but you will receive the repercussion of what you've said on a TV, on a radio, or whatever. So in Africa, we are not exercising democracy. It is only in Africa that you see we are happy because a road has been constructed, a 2-kilometer road has been constructed. In Africa, we'll be happy, we'll be rejoicing as if they are doing us favor, as if it is not our right to have those things. So all those things that you think democrat and our government are not for us. They are not for us. Those who are elected in power, they are for themselves and their family. They are not for us, the citizens, because they know we did not elect them. They selected themselves among themselves, the thieves, and then they surround themselves, with their so-called their cabal, their thieves cabal. So if we are always misusing that word in Africa, democracy, because in Africa you will see somebody is in government for over 30, 20, 10, 15 years in power, and then you see, because he knows he's always being selected, he will not have, the people in his heart. So he will always do what he thinks is right for him and his family and the people surrounding him. So KATO and others, we are actually misusing that word democracy. If we are talking about Africa, we should be saying selections in government, in governance, selection in offices, in government offices. It is in Africa that you see somebody who win election.
Yes, Nana is having some internet challenges, but of course, we are going to continue from there. I've listened to all of you. Nana says that in Africa, we don't have democracy, we have selections. Apijay Danka, Nana Kufo from Ghana, he says that democracy and capitalism are symbiotic twins, move together, and they don't work in the interest of the poor man. Nandip Bongfa says that democracy is the government of the corrupt, by the corrupt, for the corrupt. I think I remember your quotation very well. I think Dennis is going to pick it that way. Democracy is the government of the corrupt, by the corrupt, and for the corrupt. That is a definition, a new one, by Sir Nandip Bongfa. And of course, I want to adopt that definition. I said, for the first time today, we have agreed on something. Now, going to Sierra Leone, Mambu was still making his point. I want to take back the microphone to Emmanuel Mambu to finish off his point. Then I'll give my points later.
All right. Like what I was saying, it is only in Africa that you see when Party A have won election or have won selection, and then all those who are working in Party B, they will be sacked from their work.
Thank you.
Because Party A wants to bring his own cabal, his own thieves cabal into the system. So all those who are in Party B, who are working, whether in MBAs, in all offices that is being supported by government, they will all be sacked because they were not part of the selective team that was in Party A. So how can we say we are practicing democracy in Africa? How can we say we are practicing democracy in Africa when anytime there is election, there is bloodshed? In every country, there is bloodshed. So how can we say we are practicing democracy? So that is not democracy. It's selectocracy or selectocracy. We are not. They are just. I mean, we are just there as how will I say? We are just there observing what is happening in the system. And if you are not in the system, whether you have PhD, you will not have the work, unless you have to be struggling to find what you will do with your life. But there are certain positions. There are people in position in Africa. They do not deserve to be in those positions. But because they are part of the system, they will be selected to I mean, that is why our system is not working. Our economy is always going down because those controlling those economy do not even have the idea about it. Those who have the idea, they have been kicked out because of favorism, because you are not part of the, if you don't want to be corrupt or if you don't want to be a thief, you'll be kicked out of the system. So we do not have democracy in Africa. All what I'm saying is a typical example of my country. I'm not talking about Nandip's country or Nana's country. I'm talking about my country, Sierra Leone. What we are seeing as citizens, what we are seeing as ordinary citizens in the country. So even when you are qualified for a certain job, you will not be handed that job. Why? Because you are not part of that political party that is in power. That is what is happening. So if they just kicked you out. I always say this. We have 7 million people in my country. We have everything that you think of that will make us rich, but yet we are poor. What is the reason? The reason is bad leadership. The reason is the misuse of the word democracy in Africa. That is what we are suffering from. So the rich become richer, the poor become poorer every day. No matter no matter the strive you made, no matter the efforts you make, you are always at the back because you are not corrupt. But if you are corrupt, you will grow very fast in the system. If you do not have sympathy, if you do not have a heart of a humanist, you will remain poor in Africa because you don't want to see people suffer. You don't want to see people going astray. But if you actually want to see people suffer, if you want to see people dead on the street of my country, then you will get rich as fast as possible or as fast as you can. So this is why to me the way forward is let the like Nandip was saying, if the if I support the military coup in Africa, because maybe in that way our leaders will know that the people are tired of us. Our leaders will know that our system is rubbish. Our system is hopeless. You see, but because and even when they are there, they are still trying to hold on power. So if they hear anything about, if they hear anything, you say anything negative, you will be marked, because they don't even want you to think that they are bad. They are treating us bad. They just want to remain in that power. They do not have the feeling that we are going through. They do not even want to know that we are suffering. So to me, I support military coups in Africa, and I want one in my country. I really want one in my country, and I hope we'll get it very soon. Thank you.
You might believe that the military coup will be better than the military guys will be better rulers than what we are having right now. Do you believe in that? That the military guys will be better far off than the civilian guys?
I think if the military take over, yes, for now, yes. I think if the military take over for the first 1 to 3 months, it will be better to flush out the system. The system needs to be flushed out.
What I know
those bad politicians need to die.
What I know is those guys who are in the military are the same guys. It is the same. It's like those of us who are in the houses. We are the same guys at the top. They are mirroring the society. It is the society which is corrupt. So our leaders are just a mirror of us, and they don't. So and the military guys too are just like us. So if you think the military guys will come and build heaven for you, okay.
Finally, all of you have said your words. All of you have had equal time to speak whatever you want. We have 18 minutes to go. I'm going to use
Nandip, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All of you have had your time.
Wow.
I can hear you.
Okay, it's my time to talk.
Network again.
I've heard all of you properly.
I can hear you.
And I want to thank you for...
I don't think it's mine because I'm live. And I'm not seeing them.
Yes, you are live.
Then you mute Mambu and mute Nandip because they are making too much noise in the studio. And I gave them time to speak. They don't want me to speak incidentally. Now, I heard all of you and I've been very quiet. I always keep quiet and look at you as you talk because I respect democracy, which you don't respect. Nandip is not democratic. Nana is not democratic. Sometimes Apiaji Danka is not democratic. Now, you people,
why?
I'm going to give you a reason why. When I was in the School of Economics 22 years ago, one of my professors of economics, I think it was my professor of macroeconomics, told me that you don't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. Another thing I remember when we were studying the theory of money, again, the School of Economics 20 years ago, my professor told me that money today is better than money you expect tomorrow. Now, why do I speak these things? I want you to pick something from what I studied 22 years ago. I'm an economist and I'm a lawyer by training. My professors told me so many things that I pick a few things today. That number one, you cannot give what you don't have. Number two, money you have in your pocket today, even if it's 10 pounds, 10 CD, 10 naira, is better than a million you expect tomorrow. Because the 10 naira you have today and the 10 CD will save your life today by taking you to the hospital if you had a problem tonight. Now, why are we saying these things about democracy today? Nandip defined democracy very well from the angle we see it today in Africa. But I want you guys to think about one thing which I want you to give me in your conclusion. Now, that you all of you rubbish democracy and you say we don't have it, or if you have it, we have misused it. I want you to tell me, if you think elections are bad and you want military coups like Nana said, Emmanuel Mambu said, what are you going to replace elections with? Military coups? Hell no. Military coups are a temporary solution. At the end of the day, the military men are going to come and rule you for another 30 years. At the end of the day, the essence of democracy is that you want to participate in your own affairs. Okay? Nana, democracy starts at home. Sometimes we look at these things outside us and we don't look within our own homesteads. None at home, there is democracy, which you may not even see. When I was growing up, there was a government right at home. The head of that government initially must be my father, and the deputy must be my mother. And the assistant deputy must be my elder sister, who was the firstborn. And the assistant deputy must be my elder brother, who was the second-born. And the rest of us at the periphery, we are the ruled. We are the guys who are told what to do. Now, we don't vote our mother, we don't vote our father, but they vote us by virtue of giving birth to us. I'm giving a very particular example here. Now, the father goes out to work. I was lucky that because my mother was also working. So both my father and mother were working. Therefore, in my home, there was a balance of power in a way. But there was something which is democracy in my home. My mother always asked us what we want to eat. In fact, up to now in my home back in Uganda, I've always given my children a right to choose what they want to eat, especially on the weekend. So I'll ask Pride, what do you want to eat? Pearl, what do you want to eat? And they say, me, I want to eat this. Me, I want to eat that. Then we decide on what we are going to eat. My children are participating in the democracy of their own affairs at home. Yet my father would give my mother money, but my mother was working, and my mother decided for us what is good for the family. So my mother is like the finance minister. In brief, democracy starts at home. Avoid looking at the bigger picture, the politicians, and you forget the village chief. You forget the village well and how it is managed. A well that gives all of you water. Is that well cleaned? Do you vote on when to clean it? Do you come together and decide when to clean it? Democracy simply means that people participate in their own affairs. I've told you that democracy starts at home. And I told you what my professor of economics used to say, that you cannot give what you don't have. And if people understand that in our daily life, that if Nanip wants 50 pounds from me and I don't have the 50 pounds, I cannot give it. In other words, Mambo was right. I think it was Anana who was right. He said that, first of all, a people who have no democracy cannot give democracy. I'll repeat that now in my own version. This is my own version now. A people who don't practice democracy cannot give democracy. And in fact, it will be heinous for these people to demand democracy. Take an example. You stay in a village in Ghana, in Sierra Leone, in Nigeria, and when there is a rumor that someone has broken into someone's home to steal, or someone has gone into someone's garden to steal, all of you gang up, arrest this man, arrest this poor woman, and you lynch this poor woman. You beat this poor woman to death. The woman tells you, look, please wait, let me explain. I didn't steal. Please, I'm being flamed. They're telling lies about me because they hate me. You all pick logs and big sticks and you beat this poor woman to death. I've seen that being done in my country. I've seen it being done in Nigeria, where people gang up and burn someone alive, where people gang up in Sierra Leone, in Ghana, and beat someone because they are gay. Now, which sort of people are these ones? People democratic? Do these people respect institutions? They don't. Now, if a people can kill a thief and they will not take the thief to police, but rather kill a thief, these people don't know the meaning of democracy. They don't know that there are systems in place in which someone can be given a fair hearing, in which someone can be heard on merit, in which someone can be arrested. Now, if you are so corrupt at the village level, if you have no fairness at the village level, how do you expect your mafia president to give you democracy? How do you expect a lawyer to give you democracy when a lawyer comes from a diseased society? How do you expect a magistrate to give you democracy when a magistrate comes from a home where there was no democracy, a home where the mother was being beaten by the father every night? There was no democracy. Where the father used to say, I decide things. I've seen parents who say, I decide things in this home. No one argues with them. No one suggests. Now, if a home lacks democracy, how do you expect democracy at the national level? So, Africa, before we treat the symptoms, we must look for the root causes of our problems. We do not have democracy in our homes. We don't. In Nigeria, equally in Uganda, I've seen girls being forced to marry people they don't want. I know they call forced marriages. I've seen girls who are told not to marry boys or men because they come from different religions, not the family, the region. Now, it means that even a child, even a girl, has no democracy. It means choice. Democracy is all about choice. The choices we make to manage our lives. Now, if all of you agree that there's no democracy, even in my home, in our homes, then we agree that it is hardly impossible. It is hardly possible to have democracy at the government level. So how do we fix democracy? We start by fixing it right inside our homes. We start fixing it right inside our homes, but also at our village level. We say we are going to have choices here. We say we are going to treat each other well. Now, we are going to talk a lot about presidents, but we forget that presidents come from us. The moment a society is corrupt, the moment a society doesn't respect choices, society will never have democracy. Lastly, let me read for you these countries with democracy. In Africa, the following countries are the most democratic in Africa. They are the most democratic 10 countries. Number 1 is Mauritius. Number 2 is Botswana. 3, Cape Verde. 4, South Africa. 5, Namibia. 6, Ghana. Surprising. 7 Lesotho, 8 Malawi, 9 Zambia, 10 Senegal, 11 Madagascar, 12 Liberia, and 13 Tanzania. This is from Democracy Index, South African Index, Democracy Index in South Africa by March this year. Now, you have had these countries. How do they measure democracy will be the big question here. That in these countries, at least people go to decide who is going to lead them, and somehow the verdict reflects the choices of the people. I would have called if I found my country there, because in my country, we don't have elections, we have selections. In fact, in my country, I see that we have democracy. In Uganda, we don't have democracy, we have democracy. Finally, I want to go back to you. I will start with Comrade Nandip Bongfa. Today, it appears we have agreed for the first time on so many things. I think all of us are winning today. Nandip, you are parting short. Your conclusion on this show. We can have this conclusion. We can have this show tomorrow, but your conclusion for today.
Yes, Comrade KATO, thank you for this. My conclusion is this. Still, I didn't agree with you completely about your definition of the democracy and in Africa setting. Before the coming of democracy in Africa, we have our traditional way of doing things. Like the way you say about corruption, or maybe someone who cannot just the traditional way of doing things. You cannot just lynch a woman like that. No, you have to take it to the local chief. You have to investigate it first. This issue of witchcraft and all things, it came in through the missionaries and the Europeans. That's why I still always tell we hear about this. There's nothing like witchcraft and all that in Africa. It's still about these European people that bring this democracy of a thing to us. So in Africa setting,
your audio, yes. Your network is bad. Can you repeat what you said?
Yes, I said this issue of witch and lynching or killing a human, a woman about witchcraft. It's not about African. It was being brought to us about these European people that introduced this democracy into Africa. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Yeah, you cannot agree. We keep on, boxing ourselves. Yes, that is my point, and that is your point. That's why I didn't agree that yes, if a woman was accused of things like this, you have to be taken to the local chief, and then she will be interrogated. Because I grew up as a proper child that come out from the village. I came into the village when I was 11 years old, and I grew from the village. I came from the barrack, so I know all these settings before. When that time, the military, they are the one that is ruling. When I'm growing up, the military are the one that are ruling, and they give all the autonomies to the village chiefs. And we don't have corruption at that particular level. That's why I define the definition of the democracy in my own terms. Yes. So democracy doesn't mean for us Africans. We have our way of doing things as Africans. So democracy was introduced to us, and it compounded our problems in Africa. See the way you define the democracy in Ghana is a demon of whatever is democracy for the demon or something like that. You just define democracy in what do we call it in Uganda. So I have my own definition also in Nigeria too. So democracy to me and you, we agree that democracy doesn't mean for Africans. To your own definition and to my own definition, Comrade KATO. And the way Nana and the Mabu define it, we all agree this evening now that democracy doesn't mean for us. Upon you try to kind of make sure that yes, we have to have democracy. Yes, democracy, yes, you have to give you a free will of what talking. In military, you cannot talk, but at least the system is what clean from corruption and all that. Although the level of corruption in the military is minimal than in democracy, because in the parliament you have so many numbers of people that are representing the people in a particular country,
Your
like in
time
Nigeria.
is over. Your time is over. Thank you very much, sir. Let us go to Mambu before he disappears. Mambu, your conclusion.
Yes, I will start by concluding with this. Nana was asking me if I support the military. Yes, I support the military because presently our governance system, there is no difference between a democratic government, democratically elected government, and a military government. There is no difference. In fact, maybe the military government is a little bit better because you know you should not talk. But here is in our democracy now, when you know that you should talk, but if you talk, what will be the aftermath out of it? Is another thing. So now in the military, you already know I should not talk. So you know your point. But this one, the constitution is being violated in every angle. You know, thieves everywhere. So you see that in the military, you already know your stand. It is better when you know your stand, when you know your MOU in a working environment than when you don't know your MOU. Because in a democratic state, we don't know what we should do or what we should not do. But in the military government, you already know what you should do. What are your obligations? You see, so like I was saying, I will still conclude with this. We are totally misusing that word democracy in Africa because we are not practicing it. It is not in our system. We are far from it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nana, for the conclusion. Ghana, Apiaji Danka.
Okay. What I want to say is the oppressors will never let you go free. And with our building an institution like Ghana or Africa as a whole, our oppressors will never let us go on a silver platter. We have oppressors as colonizers still lurking around, still into our continent, excavating all our resources. We have our family, friends serving as leaders. They are stealing our resources. And we have people like me and many other people who are trying to get into the higher excellence of power to also steal the resources. So our mentality as Africans is to get the opportunity and steal everything. And we have to eliminate that from our psyche. We have to be more humanistic in nature, and through that humanism, democracy, as we all wish for, will actually come out. Because currently, as we talk, the democracy various African countries are all practicing is just facade. Because I don't believe in voting for 4 years and waiting for another 4 years. I believe in voting, and I believe in also participating in the affairs of the country as a whole. But as of now, you vote, then you go home and sleep. You are not part of the system anymore, and we let the highness eat, and they all go away. So I think as Africans and as Humanist TV, here we are, want to change the mentality of Africans and let Africa be a better place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nana. Thank you so much, Piaje Danka. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Mambo. And of course, thank you so much, Nandi Pongfa. There's a message from Secular Advocacy TV, and it says, there is democracy in Africa. It's just that we adopted Western style democracy, but we have democracy. There's democracy in Igbo society, in Yoruba society. By the way, this guy is right. Democracy Advocacy TV, that message is right. Democracy, some people say wrongly that actually it was being practiced by Athens in Greece, BC, before Jesus Christ was born. In fact, when you look at in Greece, when you look at Rome, they had elected leaders many years ago, centuries ago, where they could even sit and decide who's going to rule them. So there was democracy in those countries. In Rome, ancient Rome, Greece, and others, they could actually decide before they became a republic, before Rome became a republic, 44 AD, there was democracy a bit in those countries, though it was not complete, but it was a semblance of democracy. But also in Africa, even when we had a bit of monarchism, we had a bit of a family leadership and all that kind of stuff, there were areas where people could sit and agree on who's going to do what. So people deciding how to be governed, still there are some bit of elements in Africa where people could choose. Now, when you say we don't want democracy, I don't understand what you mean. But when you say it's flawed, I understand. And then I ask a question, what do we do? What is the way forward? Let me leave you with this one. Someone said that, and rightly so, that in China, when you are corrupt, they actually shoot you dead. In Japan, when you are corrupt, they force you to commit suicide. You remember what Emperor Nero did? Emperor Nero forced the thinker and an antagonist to commit suicide. In Japan, they force you to commit suicide because you are corrupt. In Africa, we praise the corrupt. In fact, in Africa, we vote them even more in places of leadership. And we thank them for saving us from ourselves. Now, which version of democracy do we want? The democracy where we shoot the corrupt, as it is done in China, or the democracy where we force the corrupt to commit suicide, or democracy where we actually pamper the corrupt and we give them more terms in office, or the democracy which I love, which is in Schengen countries. Look at Finland, look at Iceland, look at Denmark, look at Netherlands. There is democracy. Look at Germany. There is democracy. I haven't said about other countries. They should forgive me because I don't see much democracy in those countries. But I've mentioned the countries I've mentioned. Now, you ask ourselves, I want to think about it. Guys, we are going to return on this very topic with which way forward. Which way forward? Should we shoot the thieves because that's our democracy? Because the king in Africa was the law, and the law was the king. Remember what Napoleon said? I'm the law, and the law is me. I'm the empire, and the empire is me. So should we allow our leaders to shoot the thieves? Because even the leaders are thieves. Oh, should we get military men who can help us like what Liberia did? Remember what Liberia did? Line up all the corrupt and shoot them. And
even in Ghana, yes, even in
Ghana,
Ghana, they did that.
Even in Ghana, yes. Even Nigeria sometimes did it at one point.
No,
I think it was General Gowon or something who did it. Now, should we go?
That one is cool.
Yeah, should we go that kind of democracy where we give one man so much power, like in Uganda? There was Amin. He was the government, and the government was him. He was the law, and the law was him. Now that is the version of democracy. Which way, Africa? Which way to go? Let us meet again next time tomorrow, sometime. Stay safe, stay well, and keep the hope of our people alive. See you in the next one.
Yes. Good night.